All right, here we go. This is my first ever YouTube video. You might see some smoke coming through here. I've got an instant lit, but um, I'm making this video about 2 weeks after the passing of my beloved feline friend, Ben. Ben was 16 and a half years old when he died. It was on New Year's Eve. It was a few minutes after midnight when I was on the phone with the vet giving him the authorization to euthanize my cat. I was out of town during the holidays with my family, and I was not home, and so it was his temporary caretaker who took him to the vet hospital and was with him during those dying moments. So that was really. I'm gonna move this because it's irritating to myself. I imagine it's irritating to you too. All right. It's on my bed. I don't know how safe that is, but if I see any fire out of my peripheral, I'll do something about it. Anyway, um, my my cat passed away on New Year's Eve, and he was a very very special cat. My friends kind of describe him as he was community. Like he was just one of those animals that was very intuitive to people. And I had a multitude of roommates over the years who reached out to me after he passed away and said, that he had really helped them with a difficult time in their lives. And just been, an emotional support animal. He was really, really natural at that. That was just, he knew when you needed a snuggle buddy, and he was right there. And he was the only cat I knew that just would let you hold him like a baby for like a half an hour. He was cool with it. You could just sit with him, lay with him, put him wherever you want. Um, yeah, he was a very, very special cat. I've had a very deep bond with him. He was 16 and a half years old, so he was with me through my 20s and early 30s. Like he was that cat during those really transformative years in my life. And so it was really devastating when he passed, and it has been. These last couple of weeks have really disrupted me. I mean, the first 3 days, I didn't eat much. I didn't have much of an appetite. My body was just shocked and crying a lot. When you're crying a lot, you don't feel like eating. It's just how grief works. It's a shock to the body. It's a lot of expelling energy. Um, but it was very intense. It was a very tense experience. I was really proud of myself for how I was handling it, because while the grief was extremely intense and uncomfortable and painful, it was really an expression of love. It was just so much gratitude and feeling so blessed for having had him for the amount of time that I did. I mean, really 16 and a half is longer than a lot of people get with their cats. So I feel really blessed. And I also really feel like in some ways he planned it. Like I feel like he did not want me to be there in those final moments. I don't know why. I just had this feeling that he didn't want me to be there. He was in a lot of pain from what the vet was telling me, and if I had actually had to make that decision with him physically sitting on my lap, I don't know if I would have been able to make the right decision for him. I maybe would have tried to hold on and, do whatever you can, whatever surgery, and he could have possibly died on an operating table instead of pleasantly in his caretaker's arm, who also is somebody who really loved my cat. So um all that to say, fast forward to today. It's been 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. And during those 2 weeks, I have been in quite a depression. um and it's a depression that had a lot of momentum behind it. I knew it was coming. I had just spent the week with my family, and the holidays were just before then. The first week of the new year, like I also get really bad seasonal depression. So there were a lot of elements around, like I was due for an inevitable depression. I knew it was going to happen. The momentum behind it, along with the grief, I knew it was coming. So I decided this time, dealing with depression, that I really wasn't going to fight it. And I knew that my body needed a lot of rest, and to just isolate and heal and rest and do all the things that the body needs to do to recover from a shock, and from a lot of stimulus, the holidays and all of that. So I allowed it, and during about 10 days, it was about 10 full days where I fully allowed myself to engage with media in any way that I wanted. I normally have some sort of bounds around it. I won't allow myself to kind of mindlessly scroll for hours and hours, but it, before this time period, I did have some sort of awareness and restriction around it. But during this 2 weeks, I just allowed myself to lay in bed and watch as much TV, get on YouTube, do whatever I wanted. I allowed myself to fully engorge myself on media. And I did. I was sleeping maybe like 12 to 14, maybe even 16 hours a couple of times there, per day. And whenever I was not sleeping, I was in my bed watching media or being on YouTube, consuming content, Instagram, whatever. I looking up random stuff. I basically was sleeping or on my computer consuming media. I still, took care of what I needed to. I got out for a couple of walks. I cooked food for myself a few times. There were a couple moments where I did, like I had a doctor's appointment in there too. Like I went to the doctor's appointment, did that. So it wasn't like I absolutely didn't move at all. But primarily I was in my bed consuming media. And about 3.5 days now, 4.5 days ago, I had this moment in the evening where I just felt repulsed by what I was doing. I couldn't like get any source of satisfaction from anything that I was watching, any of the content. I would watch a new show, I would pick a new YouTube video, I would, like scroll and like keep looking for new stimulus, and I just simply could not get attached to anything. And I felt a sudden like visceral repulsion to like mindless internet usage, mindless media consumption. It was as if I like smoked an entire pack of cigarettes in like a 2-hour time period and then like wanted to vomit. Or like maybe I binge drank for like 3 days and had like 4/5 of alcohol, and then I just like cannot touch it. That sort of fully binge engorge in the consumption of media to the point where I'm utterly repulsed by it. And I have had my fair share of like feeling addicted to the internet over the past 20 years. And I have had times where I've like over engaged and been like, all right, I need to take a step back. But something was really different about this time. I've never really, really been able to feel the way that it was controlling me, like a true addiction, the way that it was chemically controlling my behavior. I'd never really felt an actual, like, I want to vomit. It was such a visceral feeling in my body and in my mind of like sickness, really not feeling well or balanced in any sort of way. And it made me understand that I am destroying my life by this Media addiction. I think I've always had it. Like there's never been a period in my life ever since media really has come out that I have not in some sort of way been controlled by it. And I think it wasn't until I engaged in that depth of um engorgement, just like totally indulging myself in it. I had to like really go that far into the behavior to see really what it was doing to me. Even in times when I'm not on it that much and maybe just kind of on it what seems like, a few times in the morning, a few times midday, a few times in the evening, my brain is still very much being controlled by that media. It doesn't seem like it. It's like being a smoker who maybe only smokes like 6 cigarettes a day versus like 1 or 2 packs. You're still addicted. Like, even if you're not consuming as much, you still are addicted. It's still controlling your behavior. You're thinking about it. Anyway, so I wanted to post this first video to talk about this because I know that there are other people out there who, we've all been with the internet and this media having this on our phones for like 2 decades now. And I think a lot of us are really struggling with it more than we understand. I think if we really understood the way that it was harming us, it would be easier to make this choice. So it's been about 3.5 days since this like repulsive moment with my media consumption. And I have since then been so productive. And it's not like I'm not at all using media. I just simply do not get on the internet unless I have a purpose. Like, unless I am like, I still have like email on my phone, but I haven't looked at it at all. Not on the app on my phone. I have for the past 3 days sat down only when I am like sitting down to look at my email and like take care of some administrative tasks for my life. Like, and then I'll sit there for a half an hour and go through my email, maybe look up something, maybe order something that I need, and then I'm off and I put it away and I'm not on my phone. Like, something, it was like a decision was made. All of a sudden I didn't really need to do all the things. Like, yes, I don't have like social media on my phone, but I still have like YouTube and Gmail on my phone, and maybe I'll take them off soon because truly I have not used them in any sort of mindless capacity in the last few days. Every time I have gotten on my email, for one, I've only checked my email once a day for the past 3 days. It was like I'm not even really having to try to do these things. It's just happening like very naturally for me. I'm not really struggling with the addiction. I really believe it just the repulsion, that depth of addiction and seeing it and feeling the disgust now has brought me to a place where it's been really easy, very easy to just make the decision to quit using internet and media as a mindless way to consume. Look, it's a few days in. Maybe I'll update everyone in about a week and let everyone know how it's going. But I really feel that something pivotal has happened to me. I've never had that experience with the internet or media consumption in the past 20 years of me consuming it. This level of like, I cannot physically even get myself to mindlessly consume because of how much just like disgust I feel with it after indulging so aggressively for that long. There's something to be said about kind of intentionally self-destructing if it's safe to. It's not always safe to. I knew this time that I was healthy enough to allow myself to do this, that I wasn't going to fall off a cliff, that I knew that I wouldn't let myself, like, I wasn't having like dark thoughts, just very like low energy, no motivation, like that kind of depression, and sadness, definite sadness as well. Um, but I didn't really feel at risk of, you know, being at threat of my life, and that can happen. So I'm not recommending this for everybody, but something is really fertile in that soil when you totally like self-destruct. That's the only word I think that really encaptures what I'm trying to say here. That illustrates that. Yeah. So anyway, all this to say, I also have that I'm writing on the back of my cat's death of I have been putting off this wanting to like start a YouTube channel in some sort of capacity for many months now, maybe even like a year that I've been thinking about it. And after he died, I've just been feeling like I want his life to mean something, and if it was like a catalyst for change for me, I know that that would make him very proud. Um, so so yeah, this is the end of my first video, and this is to my cat Ben. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Ciao.